is Kate, and I use she, they pronouns. I am the co-director, Manfred von Karma and Miles Edgeworth, and music director of TMVE with Giro Productions, and I am part of the MyFA Protection Squad, specifically one of the Earn Smashers in Turnabout and Ace Attorney Musical, and I will be moderating today's Turnabout Table Talk. This year, 2022, is the 15th anniversary of the long-running Ace Attorney fan project, Turnabout Musical, and it's been a big year for the show. In August, Albino Squirrel Productions in Minneapolis performed Turnabout Samurai live on stage for the first time ever, and there are two other major shows in production, which we will see release in the coming months. Notification Media's audio production of Turnabout and Ace Attorney Musical by the MyFA Protection Squad, and the digital show Turnabout Musical Virtual Edition by Giro Productions. In celebration of the anniversary and for cross-promotion between these two upcoming productions, we're holding Turnabout roundtable discussions with the casts of TMVE and TAAAM, along with some special guests from the entire history of Turnabout Musical. Today's roundtable consists of these incredible actors who bring Larry, Red White, and Yanni Yogi to the stage. Let's go around and have everyone introduce themselves.
Hi, my name is Maxwell Dziabis. I also go by Hi Bob7 and Soling Smash in various places. My pronouns are he, him. I have done a lot of things Turnabout Musical related, but the ones that are most relevant to our discussion today is I played Larry Butz in the 2016 stage production of Turnabout Musical Live, produced by Notification Media. I am reprising that role in the defense cast of Turnabout Musical Virtual Edition, and I'm also playing Winston Payne and Yanni Yogi in the prosecution cast. I'm also a creative involved and secondary ensemble member of TAAAM as well. So it's wonderful to be here.
Hey everyone, my name is BroadwayMan23. My pronouns are he/him. I am currently in the TAAAM cast. I am playing the Caretaker, totally not Yanni Yogi. And in Turnabout Musical Virtual Edition, I am playing Marvin Grossberg and the Judge, both casts. But Yogi is relevant for this discussion, so we'll keep it there.
I am Marta. I use she, her pronouns. I am in the Turnabout Musical Virtual Edition production, and I play Red White and Frank Sawyer in the defense cast, as well as some ensemble. And then in the prosecution cast, I am EFA, but today we're focusing on the defense. So yeah.
Hello, my name is Hunter Oehlschlaeger. I also go by Brunter. I use he, him pronouns. I play Texas Red or Red White in TAAAM. Yeah, and you can find me on YouTube.
Hi, I'm TheSingingKoala, and I play Larry Butz in Turnabout and Ace Attorney Musical. So hi there.
So to start things off, we have a question that everyone is going to hear many, many times from our respects. What is your history with Ace Attorney and or Turnabout Musical? Were you familiar with either before auditioning and being cast?
I have a whole TED Talk if you're interested in hearing more.
Plug.
I discovered Ace Attorney and Turnabout Musical almost at the same time in 2010, and so the two have always been linked in my brain and my heart. And I've been a fan of the project of Turnabout Musical since I discovered it. And I was cast in the 2016 production basically just because I'd stuck around long enough that I was following the Facebook page when they said that they needed actors, and I commented something like, I wish I lived in North Carolina. This would be a dream come true. And just based on that, they reached out to me. It's like, hey, we still need people. Would you be willing to fly in for a weekend and perform the show with us? And I was like, I will play any part. I will do anything to be in the show. So I was very, very familiar with Turnabout Musical before I was cast. I came in knowing all my lines in the song and so on, because I mean, you got to be prepared for that if you're only going to be there for a weekend. But it seems to pleasantly surprise everyone else that was there that I came in with that. And then because I stuck around even longer and got involved in more Turnabout Musical things, that's how I ended up auditioning for the virtual edition. And yeah, I'm very excited this time around to play a diversity of characters. Although Larry obviously is close to my heart and always will be.
Stick to your roots.
So I have been a huge fan of Ace Attorney ever since 2013. And while I was watching the first game, I watched a playthrough online. There's like a billion of those. I discovered the musical, Turnabout Musical, and I was actually able to watch that alongside it. And I instantly fell in love with it. It was such like an amazing project to me, like all the work put into it. And oh man, like when I was in university, I used to listen to the cast recording like all the time. It was just and yeah, when I saw the casting call for Turnabout Musical Virtual Edition and the TAAAM, like, yeah, I jumped to the opportunity. I auditioned for as many characters as I could, and yeah, I am ecstatic to get to be a part of this, be part of this project's ongoing legacy. Like, it is a dream come true. Thank you all so much.
So I actually did not know anything about Ace Attorney at all, and then I was scrolling through. I went to the casting call club, and I went to the singers section where they needed like paid casting calls for singers, and I was scrolling and I saw Ace Turnabout and Ace Attorney musical, and I was like, whoa, there's an Ace Attorney musical and it's doing a cast recording, because one of my dreams has always been to be in a cast recording of something. And I was like, okay, I want to do that. And I was looking through the characters, and when I first looked through and auditioned, I did not pick Red White because I didn't know who he was. But then I started playing the game when I started auditioning, and I played through case 2, and I was like, I like this guy, and I think he's a Southern accent. So then I auditioned, and actually before the audition, I had like a take of like the normal take of the character where he's just like kind of like, oh, I'm Red White, and like stuff like that. And then I also did a Southern take, and I sent them to my friend, and he was like, do the normal one. And I was like, I want to do Southern because I think that'll stand out. And it ended up working out. So yeah, and then after I got casted, I started playing the game. I haven't played through case 4 yet. I'm like, no one's letting me read. I haven't read the entire script yet of the show because it has spoilers for the games. So I don't even know who a lot of these characters are. I'm just here for the ride. Red White makes the rules.
So this conversation just got a lot more interesting. Considering how half these people are here for.
Okay, everyone, we need to keep things really vague.
We need to be very careful.
The thing.
I don't
You know,
I
the
feel
thing
like
and the thing with Act 2 and the
In
thing.
that scene.
You know the thing that happened with the guy.
I feel like Yogi would
Yeah.
probably, Yogi at least would probably be fair game. Talk about.
Hunter, do you know who Yogi is?
He's like the main guy from Yu-Gi-Oh, right?
Yes. Yes. Yeah, we actually got
Now
we got
is.
rights to crossover in Act 2.
It's the guy who likes the picnic basket.
Looks like you're going to the Shadow Realm, Joe.
Hopping off from that, I first discovered Turnabout Musical before I had even heard of Ace Attorney. And honestly, I don't think it was till like a couple years later that I actually realized this was based on a game? Dang. But I remember when I was young and I was first sort of getting into musical theater, Turnabout Musical was sort of just that thing that like brought me into it more. Before that, I had seen like Annie. And then Turnabout Musical was like the second musical thing that it sort of brought me up. And I would always annoy my mom every day singing the songs in the car over and over again. And she's like, choose something different to sing. And I was like, no, it's catchy. And so when I saw the sort of announcement of Turnabout and Ace Attorney Musical, I was like, I've known this thing for so long. I love theater. I love this show. I was very nervous, but I talked to my friend like, hey, can I use like your fancy old recording studio little place? And they said, sure. And I went in and I recorded the whole dozen auditions. And I sent them in. I was like, oh, well, you know, it's gonna happen. Probably won't get cast. And then I saw the the callback list. I was like, oh wow, wow! I didn't expect to be on there. And then the cast list came out, and I was like, oh, okay. And I had been singing "It's Gotta Be the Butz" since basically I was a child. So needless to say, it was a. I still can't believe it now, to be honest. I feel like I'm in a fever dream. So yeah, as far as I'm aware, this is a fever dream. None of you are real.
I am a case of knowing the games before the musical, but I got to know both of them quite close in the past. I was a teen. I had horrible English. I needed something to just try and understand this language a bit more. And so I started from the games, and then it built up to the musical. So it always like had a fond place in my heart because it was so cool and it helped me develop a whole language. And I just loved it. I'm not much of a gamer, but anytime an Ace Attorney game will get out, I will be there buying a new console and finding ways to play it. And so I saw the call for a Turnabout Musical Virtual Edition on Facebook. And it was sort of a fever dream because I never expected to be able to participate in a project that was not like entirely US based. And so I was really pumped to be able to even just send an audition. And I went for different characters. I didn't go for Red. But when I was asked, okay, are there characters that you would not consider? I was like, nope, whatever. Just give me something. I'm gonna do it. And so I was casted as Red White, which was an interesting surprise for me. And I have to say, this is my very first musical theater experience. I have been in choirs, I have been singing for quite many years, but no theater. So this is a very exciting, and it's been a roller coaster, and I've been learning a lot thanks to all of the guys in the project. And then Frank Solid came a bit later, but I like to have a roster of evil characters that I can play with. It's fun. And so I'm just going to stick with these two characters since the table is about them. So yeah, I'm very, very grateful to Turnabout Musical and to the Ace Attorney games for many reasons. And I'm really pumped to be in a project about that.
I have a bonus question for you, Marta. Was there a specific reason that you chose Ace Attorney, or was it just one of those like, it's a visual novel, it has lots of words in it, let's go?
I think I went first with Trauma Center, which was kind of popular for Nintendo DS, but I really couldn't stand the medical procedures because it's a game which you have to operate on virtual patients. And so I was like, okay, I like crime, I like criminal cases.
sorry,
so
sorry,
is there
just the jump
about
of like,
that?
no, I don't like the
I like
nasty like
crime.
life-saving procedures. You know what's fun? Murder.
I'm all about murder and blinks, as people know I tend to say to my castmates. So yeah, it was popular, and you know, I had a plot that could be interesting. It was fun to have a first like vocabulary in English, mainly built of words related to crime and courtrooms. That was really weird for a bit, but it worked out. So you know.
Nice.
I can only imagine your vocabulary as Red has only increased.
Ace Attorney taught me the word bailiff.
I was gonna say bonus round. What's a weird word Ace Attorney taught you?
Double Jeopardy?
Ooh. Well, all the things like Edgeworth says, verily, ergo, like, what are those?
Just Edgeworth.
Just Edgeworth. Edgeworth is a good.
Edgeworth.
And then yeah.
Oh, Edgeworth taught me what a cravat was.
And what it's not.
Controversial. A jabot.
I think I learned what a statute was. A la statute of limitations. I think that was the big one that I learned.
I thought you said statue.
That too. Yeah, case one was very eye-opening for me, frankly.
I don't think I learned words in the game. I don't remember anything.
What happens in these games?
What game is this? What show is this?
Are there any elements to your own portrayal of the characters that was inspired by someone else's take on the role, and or are there any other characters, actors, or etc. that you reference for inspiration when you were crafting your own take on these roles? And conversely, what do you bring to the role that makes it unique and individual to you?
Before me, the main Larrys that were in my head were Matthew Toronto from the original demo was probably number one. And then also Chris Zambellis, the Enigma Fade, the Larry from the original soundtrack. And it wasn't really necessarily like an intentional taking one bit from something. At least as a baseline, it was kind of just, how would I sing the song based on the different versions that I've heard over the years, and just like what readings of which lines stick out most in my brain as like, this is the easiest or like the most intuitive way for me to sing them. And then a few bits like the, oh, that's how it all happened, the little up into the final chorus taken directly from It's Gotta Be the Insanity, because I needed that. It just felt right. And I don't know, what I bring to the role is mostly, I think what people have told me is that like my portrayal of Larry is less of like the game's version where he's kind of just like attempting to be suave womanizer type of guy, to basically just like a hyperactive guy who is just like radiating chaotic good, I think is where it came down. And I think that's just a reflection of, if I were to make my own sort of personality and interests chaotic, is probably the best way I could describe my Larry.
As one of the people I mainly look to is Matt.
The boy. It's the boy.
It's interesting because Larry is a very interesting character, honestly. He's got this dichotomy of being a big like screw up, like messes everything up sort of person. But every time we see him, he's doing something successful. The man dates 2 models, like, and then a third. Like, the man is not like
he's winning.
He's winning.
He's not taken a single L except for the first one, but don't worry about that. That's fine.
I also agree with Matt that Larry isn't really a womanizer. He's a winner. Like, he's not like Larry's like the kind of guy who goes up to you at a bar. He tries to say a pickup line. He fails so badly that it's almost endearing, because there's no malice in Larry Butz. He's just a heart. He wears his heart on his sleeve, and he's very open with everything. And you can sort of see that in how he acts, and even in the sprites for the game, where, you know, every emotion Larry has, like, even compared to most of the cast, is over the top expressive of, this is what I'm feeling right now, whether he's super surprised like he's the scream face or he's bawling his eyes out. And I think that's really, Larry is a very open person, certainly a very energetic, chaotic person, but overall he's that chaotic good. He wears his heart on his sleeve, he tries his best, and he wins for it. He wins.
So when I auditioned for him, I'd actually never seen any like other Red White, and whenever I do a casting call, I don't like listening to other people's portrayals, because then I feel I don't want to ever like I think it is good to listen to other people and like get ideas, but I have a problem where I'm really good at mirroring people. So I know if I listen to someone else, I'd like try to copy their take. So I wanted to give something my own. And when I looked at Red, like I knew he was like a narcissist. So and like he's very like big with everything he does. He's kind of putting on not putting on a character. He like started putting on a character, but it became him. He became that character. So like with his name, Red White, and like Blue Corp, that just screams patriotic America to me. When I think of America, I think of the South. So that's why I went with a Southern accent. And I think like on paper, when I think about it, I don't think it works, but I just like, I feel like it should work. Like I wanted it to work really bad. I like the Southern accent a lot. I kind of based it off Elvis a little bit, like with some of like the vocal things he would do, like in my I'm not gonna spoil part of the song, but there's like a vocal part where there's like a break in lines and I just went huh, huh. Like I just felt like that's something like I if I could perform, I want to perform this role live because I feel like I could do like a lot of like pelvis like things or like just different dance things because I feel like Red would do that. Like he's very like he knows he's a good looking guy, so he's just like throwing things in people's faces, doesn't care. Like he's a Chad. Red is a total Chad. But yeah, I based it off of us a little bit, and then Southern accents can either be really soothing or really scary. And I kind of wanted to have that mix because Red's like trying to be like all like the pleaser, but if you get on his bad side, then he's like, okay, I'm gonna kill you. And what I think I bring to the role originally, like I feel like from someone who has no background of anything, I feel like I can add original, I added an original take. I don't think anyone would think Red to be Southern. But yeah, Texas Red.
It was a decision that paid off, absolutely.
So very curious to see Hunter's portrayal of Red.
Oh, it's a
After
treat.
this, I'm really pumped. I also didn't really get into the like Turnabout Musical Live and Turnabout Musical ASP versions of Red White because I was a bit scared of coping things since I'm not a very seasoned actor. But I have been going through now in the latest phases of production through the musicals. And one fun thing that another castmate told me was you are a fun in between the two versions, like Turnabout Musical Live and ASP version, because I get, well, my Red obviously will have some very interesting gender vibes, and I think that's nice. I remember that when we were building on the song that he gets in the musical, there were some like Ursula's vibes from The Little Mermaid that we were thinking about in some points, because it gets quite jazzy and it works well with, I think, my kind of features. So I've been like, I adore Mary's portrayal, and I think that the like childish quality that sometimes Red can get, because he can get a bit like, oh, this is so interesting, and then okay, time for murder. So that quality, I think, it's a balance between things that I was also listening in the original soundtrack, which I love to bits. Some of the more like acted out lines, I have to try and not copy the original thing because it's so iconic to me. So I had to work to like, okay, find your own timing. It's fine. You know, you can still honor the original version. I like to think that the childishness and some vocal games that I like to have in the song are what I bring. And I like to mess up every single accent and every word. I because just, you know, I just can. And it's full circle with me learning English with Turnabout Musical. So I'm just gonna unlearn everything and just gonna say Mountain with the presidents. Why not? I can do that. It's okay.
You make the rules. Yes.
I roll the
Absolutely.
dice. Exactly.
So one of the main things that I do to approach Yogi is that, at least for my portrayal, like I'm honestly going for like two completely different voices, like one for the old man disguise and one for Yogi, his real voice. Yeah, like a lot of yogis that I've seen, they tend to use like almost the exact same voice for like both personas, but I'm not 100% sure I like that. I like to sort of play with the idea that, yeah, the old man, like it's just all like it's all an act, a disguise to like hide his true identity from the public that thinks he's like a crazy murderer. I think I just had this like I just created this like this is just one of the voices like I created like when I was like just playing the game for the first time, like a caricature old man voice, like, Meg, that you? Is that Keith with you? Ooh, wonderful. Yeah, like and then we meet Yogi, like according to the bios, like he is only 54. He is not even a senior yet. So I just went for like, you know, a sad, miserable, grumpy man, like a stereotypical like gruff voice, like from a man, that you would expect from a man that age. So, yeah.
On top of that, I can quickly hop in for my Yogi.
Yeah.
Yogi's like the one that I had the most fun with unexpectedly, just because of like there's a range there, and you can have fun with both ranges in terms of you know what I was thinking, you know, and now that I think about it, has anyone seen the Twilight Zone episode, Will the Real Martian Please Stand Up? There's an old man in that episode who's kind of acting, because like they have to try to find an alien in a diner, and he's basically like the red herring, right? Like he acts purposely very strange and is just sort of the trickster figure messing around with people. And so I was trying to bring some of that sort of facial expression into the boat shop owner, the caretaker part. In terms of the voice, I did want there to be a continuity between the two voices. But it was mostly just a matter of the caretaker voice being lighter and energetic and forceful. The logic for me was like, caretaker is what he does when there's other people around that he just wants them to go away. So he's acting as obnoxious as possible. And then when there's finally a reveal of like the true self, it is very, you know, and the game points to this and the stage directions point to this, it's much more stoic. The voice is rougher. I still try to keep it within the same area, but the delivery is much more pointed. And I mean, who doesn't love playing, you know, the tragic villain delivering the monologue at the end? So it's just been so much fun.
We have a Larry specific question and a caretaker specific question. So we do have one from Richie that asks, throughout the games, we see Larry with a hidden talent for art. In Turnabout, he's got a talent for dancing. How different do you think Larry would be if he had an outlet for these artistic talents?
I think he does have an outlet. It's more just the lack of respect from people around him. Like he's and I'll go on record. I think Larry is a genuinely good artist. I mean, when he starts, obviously, he doesn't have the most polished technique, but like it's not bad. And like you can tell he's got the passion for it and he gets better. So like I think it's more of a world problem than a Larry problem.
The world, society
is against artists.
Yes.
The Joker was right. We do live in a society.
If Larry had an outlet, he would turn into the Joker. That is where that is clearly where this is going. Nick, you don't understand. Society is bringing me down. They won't accept Larice Donham. And if they won't accept him, Larice Donham will make the world accept him.
Very red pill art. Kidding. Just kidding.
Oh my god.
We're not doing that.
Colin, did you answer the question?
I think so.
I think the moral of the story is Larry would clearly be too powerful if he was focused on something rather than being chaotic.
Yes.
This is true. This is true. This is true.
And may or may not have a Joker arc.
Join the club. We have a caretaker specific question. If you could have any other emotional support animal that wasn't a parrot, what would you choose and why?
That is easy. I would pick a Yorkie dog. They are just fun, energetic, they are adorable, and they would just bring me joy in these 15 years of endless pain, suffering, and just endless grief over something I didn't even do. So, yeah.
Valid. I love it.
I was gonna pick a guinea pig because I like guinea pigs.
I'm just shocked.
Every time someone talks about this character, I'm getting a spoiler. I didn't know that those are the skies, and I didn't.
He is the spoiler.
We're starting Hunter's Joker arc. That's what's happening.
Man,
It's okay.
You want to know
It's
how I
totally
got
fine,
this
it's fine, it's fine,
sky?
It's fine. You.
I'm genuinely surprised you haven't gotten spoiled yet, frankly.
You will be okay. There's
There's
There's more,
story is
there's more for
good.
you to learn. So no worries.
Don't worry about it. You're okay. Anyway, guinea pig.
I said guinea pig because I like guinea pigs. I'm like, if I were to pick an
That's the
emotional
best
support
reason.
animal,
Why?
Yeah,
Because I like them.
because I like guinea pigs.
well,
Would you-
it
would
doesn't
you
quite,
choose-
it doesn't talk the same way that a parrot does, but
It's not gonna
they
blow
will-
your cover.
They are smart and they will love you. And they'll
Would
know
you-
who you
would-
are other than just like you are food person. Now I run in circles because hamsters are dumb. Guinea pigs are intelligent.
Would you two still name them Polly, or would you give them different names?
Yes.
To which?
To what?
I don't know. It's
No, we
probably
gotta
still,
pull up babynames.com real quick.
probably still name it
What do I
Polly.
name my guinea pig? To the crowd. This is from Wendy Alice. Is there any fun lore or backstory for your versions of the character that we might not see in the show? Max, you seem excited.
The Monsters Inc. 7-Eleven cup.
The Monsters Inc. 7-Eleven cup.
It was birthed from an improv session where the prompt was, what after the class trial in 4th grade, what happened to Phoenix, Edgeworth, and Larry? And my answer was we went to 7-Eleven and bought and got Slurpees with the limited edition Monsters Inc.
That was such a good story, though.
I think that's all I got, really.
Okay, but the
know.
Monsters Inc. 7-Eleven cup is important.
I personally got something like little with my character. His whole like pasta shop motif. Like, is that just something he like came up with for the caretaker, or? But I actually have an idea that this was actually something he was planning to do with his fiance before he was accused of murder. Yeah, just something they were playing. He was playing to like quit as a court bailiff, and they were just going to open up a shop together. But of course, like DL6 happened, and all of those dreams they just like completely went up in smoke. So him, like, you know, honoring the whole pasta shop thing through the old man is just yeah.
My backstory for the pasta shop was literally like he made it up because he was like squatting in the shack and the IRS came by, and just made that up as like something that would like just turn them off so much that they would just leave him alone, and he just stuck with it because it worked.
Smart.
Okay, so one thing is not like super new because it was done in other versions, but the concept of Red White moving everywhere with like a wheelchair, a wheeling office chair just to, you know, do his own things. And another thing happened because I have a lot of flamingos and I have many flamingos like things, object in my room. And so when we had to use props, like anything we had around, I always had something flamingo themed. And so now Red White loves flamingos. That's how he does it.
I love it. I love it.
I'm convinced that Larry is like a secret millionaire.
Continue.
Okay, think about it. This man can never keep down a job, and yet he seems to like have no qualms like paying for anything. He dates like multiple models over and over again, despite this man he owns his own businesses because he owns the samurai dogs. Like he didn't like start, he owns it. He branded this. He contacted the Steel Samurai people and said, "This is what I want to do." And they said, "Okay." And he funded it. Think about it. This man is actually rich.
It's occurring to me that Larry Butz has been in personal contact with Salmonella and or D. Vasquez, and that's terrifying. That's incredible.
Just another reason Larry Butz.
Larry Butz is doing nothing but collecting W's. Why?
He wins. Larry Butz wins everything.
This
Larry
is why no
Butz
one
always
likes him.
wins.
everyone's jealous of Larry Butz.
He is a successful artist
He is
in
an
a community in which
entrepreneur.
artists are frowned upon. And he's a billionaire.
He has model girlfriend.
No one wants to associate him because no one wants to admit to themselves that becoming a lawyer was not the most lucrative job decision.
Also, keep in mind, he made the Thinker statue. And like that is a
Yes,
high
yes,
quality
yes.
thing.
Yes.
Like
He's smart.
Like from literally day one, he is a good artist.
He sculpts, he paints, he creates
He made
food
that.
items.
He's a Renaissance man.
He manages businesses. What can this man not do?
Be attracted to men.
Keep her-
Hunter.
Yeah, that's it.
So like I don't like the question is like what like is like hidden lore about your take of the character.
Yeah, is there any fun lore or backstory for your version of the character that we might not see in the show?
I don't know, but Gavarok had me convinced at one point because I don't know anything about Ace Attorney. He made me think that he had a brother named Blue Black, and I believed him for a while. Like that Blue Black was like this like the opposite of Red White. Like he's like this like down to earth guy,
That's amazing.
and
Oh god, I've never been
He
happier.
owns-
I'm gonna talk to him later today.
he owns a Red Corp.
Oh, man.
And he's just this, like this nice guy. He's like a philanthropist. Like
Can we get this show?
It's too late to change the script.
Guys, spoiler, the day actually gets saved by Blue Black and Red Corp.
We've changed the red white trial more than you thought we did.
I also want to know what how Red like does prison like what like how does he act like what happens to him in prison?
Yeah.
Because like I feel like with his personality and how he acts, like no one would like him, but he's also like really buff and like he just like he literally just assaults Phoenix like the first day he knows him. It's like you can't tell anyone about this, and I feel like he's doing the same stuff in prison.
He's still trying to blackmail people in prison.
You know what?
What are you gonna do?
I
Send
wanna
me to
think.
prison?
I would think he finds a way
do.
to. I would think
Oh.
he finds a way to craft his own rings in prison, like with things he finds around, and he gets to have his
In the metal
support.
shop.
Of
Exactly.
course, yes.
Oh, I remember one piece of hidden lore for my take. Red White has his own talk show.
Mm.
Yes! Yes! I remember this!
Oh yes.
Red White and You.
Yes.
Yes. Why didn't we
It
do
makes
anything with
sense.
that?
The men published the children book, so
do it right
you
now.
know.
Yes,
That's
Red White's an
natural.
excellent adventure part 4. Diamond's actually quite
Yeah.
breakable if you think about it. Still my favorite goof. I love that. This one's from Roof. Good buddy Roof. What's another video game you think would make a great musical?
Professor Layton.
Why not?
That's
Ghost Trick Phantom Detective.
it. Ghost Trick! Yeah!
The best.
I
Ace
was
Attorney
waiting for
game,
you on that.
Ghost Trick Phantom Detective. It has been attempted numerous times. Hopefully,
It
it'll-
has.
Yeah, the Ghost Trick musical has been attempted numerous times. Hopefully, it might.
One of
come
these
to
days it's gonna
fruition
work.
one day.
Listen.
Gear production, get to it.
Oh, this is our
Maybe.
job now.
Sure.
Dude, I got so much going on, you.
Max has a laundry list of things coming up. It's
I
just-
literally.
Damn it.
Okay, I have been writing a Pokemon musical,
That's right, yes!
Connect.
and I got I got Diana.
You got Diana on it?
yes. So okay, I like 20 pages written of a Pokemon like kind of parody. It's like you guys know Star Kid. It's like a Pokemon musical if it's in the style of Star Kid, where it's very chaotic and like it makes fun of itself constantly, and like my idea is that all the battles are like the Pokemon are like actors, and all the actors can talk, and so like while moves are happening, like Sand Attack, like they throw sand in like the eyes, and like they're like there's like legitimistics
sand?
of everything. So like when they get sand in their eyes, they're like, oh, like and like they just like end the battle. They're like, I'm done with this. Like Pokemon just leaves the stage. And then we
You
were
just
also
threw sand at me, dude. No.
Pocket sand.
Hope you don't get fire attacks in there.
Oh,
Gonna
yeah,
be
there
mad.
yeah, I thought about having like flamethrower. I don't know how I'd actually do that.
Like,
on a stage.
Just have someone say, "Whoa, we don't have the pyrotechnic budget for that."
No one ever used Charizard. We can't afford Charizard.
The main Pokemon is actually a Charizard.
Oh god.
Well, it's a Charmander, and you see it evolve. And I was thinking that the actor would have like 3 onesies, and so like every time they evolve, they just rip off the Charmander onesie and it'd be a Charmeleon onesie.
Oh my god.
And then like the story follows. Oh, my idea is that the audience they name the trainer and they named a rival, and the actors have to
That's
remember
so
those two names for the rest of the show.
That's
Oh,
awesome.
that's awesome! Like big Child of Oregon vibes.
Yes,
Yes.
that's my favorite
Yes.
Star Kid show.
Yes.
God, Child of Oregon's so good.
And then we're also thinking of making a Team Rocket like memoir where Jesse, James, and Meowth like get fired from Team Rocket, and then they all go their separate, like they all leave each other, they go separate ways. Like Meowth becomes like an accomplished like English professor, and James is like working at like a Starbucks, and like I don't know what Jesse's doing, but like they all like go their own separate ways, and then they like meet back together, and they're like, man, I miss those times. And then like it's like a story where they come back together.
It's Scooby-Doo 2002.
Yeah.
Does Meowth have like a heavy British accent now?
Oh yeah. Like, meow, that's right. That is correct.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
Indeed, verily, I say.
Verily,
Ergo.
ergo.
Indubitably.
Okay. I have wanted to figure out how to make one of the Fire Emblem games into a musical for so
Ooh,
many
those are
years.
very cool games.
And I have played around with each of them, but it's just the idea of trying to condense like a Fire Emblem plot, which introduces so many goddamn subplots into one thing. I was like, oh, Echoes would make a great musical. Oh wait, there's two groups, they're doing like 40 different things that don't relate to the main plot. How do you fit that into one thing? Oh, Fates, no. Oh, Awakening. The story is literally 3 different things, and you'd have to have a 2-year time skip in there. No thanks.
That's your act break.
It's just trying to fit because none of them are cohesive. Trying to make a Fire Emblem plot cohesive is the hardest thing there is.
Mhm. I bet Danny might be interested with that.
Oh yeah, Daddy would
Uh,
absolutely be interested in that.
It's just finding the right game.
Mhm.
Also Zelda.
Also
Zelda.
Zelda.
I heard they're making a Breath of the Wild musical. I know Dan is like working on that.
Someone was working on a yes.
Yes.
Do that.
So I'm excited to see more about that. Also, when I was in 6th grade, I wrote 6 scenes to a Mario musical. I have reread it. It's terrible. It is.
Oh well, that's actually coming out next April.
Yeah, they actually bought my script.
They bought the right. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's why Chris Pratt is Mario.
Wake up in the morning feeling like P. Diddy.
And it goes on and on and on. Just like I'm Donkey Kong.
Another question. At the risk of being cliche, if you weren't playing your current role, who would you want to play?
Miles Edgeworth.
Yes.
Because
Please.
Ooh.
I've heard it. It's good.
I love playing Miles Edgeworth. I did it for the demo tracks for TAAAM. And the reason is because I am actually a baritone.
Baritone.
And yet,
I keep.
I'm stuck. Larry is stuck to my hand. So thankfully, it's not too bad that I can sing Larry's part still. But Edgeworth is such a rich part, so fun. Who doesn't love our wonderful, pathetic sad boy and all of his wonderful music?
It's a little scrunkly.
Yes.
Do you want to change tracks for the prosecution cast?
Well, thanks for that, Max. You just stole my answer.
No, go for
Sorry,
it. Go.
Yeah.
Duke it
if
out.
I could play anybody else, it would definitely be Edgeworth. He is my favorite character in the whole series. His arc, in my opinion, is up there with Prince Zuko from Avatar: The Last Airbender.
Ooh.
Yes.
Yes.
And I guess if I have to take a close second, it would probably be Manfred von Karma. Because, yeah, he is actually my favorite villain in the Ace Attorney series. And I'm just going to say it right now, Anything to Win is actually one of my favorite villain songs.
It goes off.
Great.
It goes
Great.
off.
Sorry, now that you said Zuko, I'm just thinking about Larry saying, "That's rough, buddy." After everything
That's
happened.
rough, buddy.
That's rough.
My first girlfriend got murdered with a clock that I made her.
That's rough,
That's
buddy.
rough, buddy.
I did do a voice for Zuko for a few demos for Notification's Avatar: The Last Airbender fan musical.
Oh.
Go check out if you haven't heard it yet. It's so good.
Plug.
Okay, so I think I have 2 characters I'd like to really play.
Mhm.
One would have to be Lotta Hart, I think. just because I don't know, there's something about Lotta. It's just fun. Lotta's just a fun character.
Mhm.
And then the other would probably have to be Von Karma because, yeah, I mean, deep, rich bass. Basically, I love the idea of Von Karma just being this intimidating, almost a force of law rather than a person. It's this idea of Von Karma that strikes fear into everyone. And I won't say much more because, hi, Hunter. Finish case 4.
Hey, Hunter, we need to get back to playing Turnabout Goodbyes, please.
Yeah, we do. I also would have to say I would like to play Red White.
I have good news for you.
Okay, no, actually, like when I auditioned, I was going for Edgeworth. Like my top 2 were Edgeworth and Red White, and I love Edgeworth's music. Like I still sing it like in the shower, and like I'd like to play that role someday. But like I just knew that like between the 2 I would be like Red White because I just think I'm like stronger at like the comedic characters and stuff like that. So I thought that like I'd be a better Red than an Edgeworth. But yeah, I love Edgeworth. Edgeworth or Larry Butz probably.
So with me, initially was I would love to play Mia Fey, but I get to do that.
Great news for you, Marta.
It turned out well for me. And people know that I love Turnabout Samurai, and one of my dreams is to one day be Dee Vasquez. But apart from that, Edgeworth is a great character, but I think I could maybe try and pull off a Von Karma somehow. I would love to explore his specific shade of evilness. But yeah, I'm pretty satisfied actually with my character, I have to say. And yeah, which, you know, when I started, I was a bit unsure about, okay, they gave me this character. I'm not really seeing what they see in me, but let's stick with it and see what everything is about. And so yeah, actually, it worked well for me.
Marta was like, man, I don't know what you guys are talking about.
Honestly, yeah.
If I could be anyone for a day, I'd want to be myself. I don't know what kind of image they all have.
Actually, to jump in again, because I think about Turnabout Samurai. All right, I always imagined Turnabout Samurai, but instead of Wendy Oldbag, we just replace it with Larry Butz. And that is my dream.
The Larry supremacy plan continues.
It's Larry as the security guard.
Yeah, he's just the security.
I mean, yeah.
Larry,
There's the profits for it.
Larry singing The Way Things Were. And The Way Things Were reprised.
Yes.
Max, do you have a free evening by chance?
I mean, you've got my number. just
Cam DLC.
Question from Marigold. What is your favorite part of playing the roles that you play?
I love the costume. Which is, you know, I mean, it's a silly thing, but as I mentioned, first time doing some acting. So costuming and dealing with bodily movements, aside from, you know, posture and good breathing and everything. That's new for me. And realizing how much having the full red white costume on changes my way to even just stand, even the way I just slightly turn this way every time I am in the red white dress, because it makes sense. The weight of everything he wears, I don't know, there's something that really, you know, helps me kind of embody the character. Yeah, I would say the costume and again the general playfulness that I can have when I'm playing this part. And yeah, I can just sing some words, mispronounce some words, so it's fun.
Well, I just loved like reading into like everything he was saying and like thinking about like why he's doing it. Like, first of all, like his song, he's constantly saying his name in the third person. And I feel like someone who talks like that is more intel that he is a narcissist. He loves talking about himself. He loves singing about himself. And so I feel like with those kind of characters, because they're so like larger than life. It's so much fun just to be able to play them. And then also because we're just like an audio production for TAAAM, like it's sad that we don't get to do anything like visually, but I heard someone say that voice acting was just acting, and I was like, oh, okay, that makes a lot more sense. So then I would just like add choreography and facial stuff to do to my mic, and it made it a lot easier, and it's just super fun playing the character.
Well, I mean, is it cliche to say the song?
Not
I
at
mean,
all.
No.
I like the song. It's gotta be the Butz. It's a catchy song.
It's a banger.
It's been stuck in my head for at least 10 years. I can't get it out. Please help. I don't know. It's just, and maybe it's just sitting behind the mic. Obviously, yeah, just doing all the expressions. If people could see me behind I probably should have recorded that. I'd look like an insane person because I'm just basically flailing around and like both imitating like the sort of Larry Butz sprites just to help me get into that, and then more or less just flailing around and doing whatever pops into my head as Larry.
The Muppet approach. I love it.
Yeah. Larry is a human Muppet.
Yeah. I was gonna say It's Gotta Be the Butz is a 2008 song written by Matthew Toronto, aka Triforce Fun. I mean, like it's such like It's Gotta Be the Butz is one of those songs that like probably shouldn't really work on paper, but like it is just an ingenious composition.
It is,
and
It shouldn't work, and it does. It should feel like a colossal waste of time, and it doesn't. It is like one of the
it is peak
few...
Ace Attorney.
Yes!
Yes.
It's one of the few testimony songs that doesn't feel like it could have been an email. You know what I mean? Like, and I say that with a love. Homeboy
really,
comes in, does what he has to do, and like he's got it on lock.
it captures everything that is wonderful about Ace Attorney in like 4 minutes. And I mean, even when I was doing the TED Talk, and I had clips from the demo and then from my performance singing it. The other people who had never heard Turnabout Musical before, it would just come up to me and be like, just those 2 clips that you showed us are stuck in my head since I heard it like yesterday. And that, I mean, that really goes to show like Larry. I can't even imagine Turnabout Musical without It's Gotta Be the Butz.
Mm-hmm.
Like what else is there in the Larry role that like would make it so appealing? I feel like everything sort of flows out of the energy of that song to encompass the character in Turnabout Musical as a whole. And then for Yogi, my favorite part is the ending monologue because it's so fun. and you get to do, I have like specific like costume things I'm doing, and I very rarely have gotten the chance in my life to do dramatic acting where sort of what's happening is hinging on whatever I'm saying in that moment. So it's kind of empowering in that way. So yeah.
Yeah, I guess for me, the most fun thing to do as Yogi and Tam is seeing this show's version of Pasta Shop, which is amazing. Like, and honestly, when I like picture this being staged, I could just so totally see the old man just doing these like high energy hip hop moves, which would just look absolutely ridiculous with the costume. Even Maya could join him.
Maya would be game. Maya would absolutely be game.
Yes.
Good.
I'm just gonna add real quick about like the music is the best part. Like in general, I guess okay, I focus on the costume, everything is new for me. So I'm like a child, easily distracted by the shiny things. But of course, the music is, well, I mean, I've been sticking around this musical for what, 10 years now. So everything you said about the music is absolutely true. And I love Red, White, and You. It's a very fun song to sing. It's very fun to keep moving between the singing and the lines and the timing and everything. I know TAAAM has some very nice new things in it, and I'm really envious about that. But even in the original version, it's such a nice song to sing, and the like mood shifts that you get in the song are so fun. So it's absolutely genius. And also, Red White doesn't have a theme song in the game, so having that thing for him in the musical is so nice and so great.
I want to hop on that because I didn't talk about the music. What like I what made me want Red the most was I heard a song and I was like, oh, like that. It was like it was my favorite song I heard, and I was like, I want to be that guy.
All right, we do have one more question that we need to ask. What does Turnabout Musical mean to you, and what has been your favorite part of doing TM or being part of the community?
I guess I can start. Turnabout Musical is pretty much my entire life. It's definitely my entire creative life and has been more or less for a while. Even when I was doing theater in high school or in college, like there would always be in the back of my head, like as I'm watching a show or seeing people perform, I'm like, where does this fit into Turnabout Musical? It's like my love of theater basically just stems out of my love of the show. And doing these productions, especially TMVE and TAAAM, has been so rewarding that after a lot of years when it was frankly a relatively small community staying active and following the project, to now have this Discord server where there are many servers where there are so many more people who are coming on board and sharing their love of the show and sharing their talents and performing. And even, people I had known on Discord for years finally getting their shots to be a part of these productions. That's really been my favorite part, the most rewarding part of doing these productions.
Yeah, Turnabout Musical for me, it is a wonderful and very inspiring project. Just a huge combination of amazing, dedicated talents. And honestly, it is a thrill to get to be a part of this, join the Discord server, get to see and interact with all these amazing, talented people. And just, I cannot wait to see these future projects come to life and just feel the triumph of just, yes, being a part of this and seeing what we can create.
Okay, for me, well, first of all, it's an incredible community effort, piece of art, performance, whatever you want to call it. And it's so good to see. I kind of missed the updates in the years because I was very on top of things when the OG soundtrack was around. So it was so fascinating for me to say, wait, they added songs. They changed some of the songs. Wow, this is so nice. And so to me, it's really special to see a project going on for so long and getting the quality higher and higher every time. So it's just inspiring to say. But for me, it has a very special place because it's the way I was able to dabble into musical theater after years of just wanting to kind of try, but being really unsure because okay, I'm not that young anymore. Most courses out there are either very 3 years demanding courses that I cannot really combine with a PhD, or courses for younger people. And so I never got the chance to get into that, and finding that call felt a bit like, going for a soul call and saying, oh, you know what? Turnabout Musical saving you once again and bringing art into your life once again. So I will be forever grateful to that, and to that for this and for the people that I've been meeting. It sounds a bit cliche, but really meeting all my castmates, all the staff, all the amazing people that are both in our server and in the broader server has been amazing. And yeah, I've just been replaying games and rekindling my love for the series, which is always there, but it's always nice to revisit it a bit as you get older and wiser.
Well, for me, so much good has come to me from Turnabout. First off, finding this game, I love this. Is one of the best games I've ever played. I love the series. It's a wonderful game. And then also from a writer standpoint, I've written music for stuff, and I've me and my friends compose stuff, and I've tried writing musicals about games, but it's so inspiring to see a team of dedicated fans of the game who are so talented just to come together and create something like this. Just looking back and seeing how long you guys have been working on this, how many times you done a production of this, and what the efforts, the amount of effort you put into this is insane to me. It is so inspiring, and from a writer standpoint, it's so awesome. And then with acting and being a performer, like this has been a dream come true because I've always wanted to be part of a cast recording for something and being part of like a new musical, and it's just so awesome to have been able to have the honor of playing Red White and meeting all these awesome people. And I love I love the show, and I love the community and everything about this. It's just so awesome.
I mean, Turnabout Musical really ignited my passion and my love for musical theater, something I'm still pursuing and doing to this day. I honestly, I don't know where my life would be without Turnabout Musical to really be that outlet of something so very, very niche that no one I have ever met has any idea what I am talking about when I try to talk to them about it. Yet forging this lovely community of people around the world about this one, the silly little musical about a lawyer failing a bunch, but then succeeding. And I wouldn't have it any other way. And I've met so many great people, and I've had such a good time, and it's wonderful. It's all I can say is it's wonderful. Everything is wonderful here.
It's such a nice little corner of the internet that we've crafted here. It's
Literally
great.
no one, everyone I've tried to introduce to is like, what the hell is this?
Well, thank you all so much for sharing your time and insights today, and for sharing your passion and talents in being part of Turnabout Musical. For everyone watching this later, don't forget to follow all of our social media. There is a Turnabout Musical link tree, which you can find in the description, with links to Turnabout Musical's official Facebook, Twitter, TikTok, and Discord, as well as links to the already available productions and the TAAAM YouTube channel. You can find Giro Productions on their website, giroproductions.carrd.co, which includes links to their Twitter and Instagram. You can also find Nerdification Media, which produced TM Live and is currently producing the debut audio production of TAAAM, at nerdification.media, which also has their links to their Patreon, their Twitter, and their YouTube. And of course, keep an eye out for the release of Turnabout and Ace Attorney Musical this November, and Turnabout Musical Virtual Edition in the coming months. See you guys!